On today's show,
it doesn't matter where we go, we have a target on our back. We've been to the state championship game 5 years in a row. We've won 3 out of the 5. So Hanover has a huge bullseye on their back.
Welcome to today's show. I'm Cole Reif, and we made it to show number 2 of Kansas Sports Chatter. Students are back in school, and I think the majority of parents are pretty excited about that, except maybe parents and especially mothers that have a child that's a senior this year. I know it can be emotional, and we will try to help you out as much as possible and distract you from that senior parent feeling. Make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube page. That way you don't have to miss any of the content. As described, it is a entertainment show dedicated to high school sports directly in Kansas. No messing around with the introduction today. Let's get right to it. Here's a lineup for today's guests. Dani Yaghmour, St. Mary's Colgan Golf, and Kim Rolfs, Little River volleyball coach, will be joining us shortly for our leadoff question. Hill Brothers football, both Brandon and Brian will be with us as they'll talk Western Kansas football and some of the guys we need to be watching this year. Melissa Holle, Hanover volleyball coach, will be our quality time interview. Jeff Bollig, the vice chairman for the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. He'll be talking about a recent inductee. Jeremy Deckard with Prep Dig Kansas will be talking volleyball throughout the state. And Emily Diercks with Fort Hays State University cross-country runner from Hoxie, Kansas, the former Hoxie Indian, will be joining us with our next level talents. Let's get right to it. Here is today's leadoff question. It's today's leadoff question with Dani Yaghmour of St. Mary's Colgan Golf. Dani, what's the best game or round of golf that you've seen in person in your high school career?
The best round that I personally watched or been in has been the 2024 3-2-1A Girls State Golf Championship.
At that time, did you realize, like, hey, this is amazing? Like, this is some really good golf?
You know, I always knew, like, going into a state championship, like, all of it's going to be amazing, but I didn't realize how close it was during the round. So definitely was struck by the end of it.
Any individual plays, either from yourself or from, teammates or people that you're watching, there's like, wow, that was an amazing shot?
You know, at the end, coming in, Ava was the very last one to come in, Ava Skripsic, and she ended up stressful. I think she knew what was on the line coming in the last hole, so definitely she came in and helped our team out there.
How do you go about personally, individually, I guess, preparing yourself mentally for something like that going into state?
You know, the nice thing about our school is we have our faith to back us up. So our teammates are always there, of course, to be our support, but we also always pray before our rounds, and that also just makes me feel at peace.
What was the initial reaction following that round?
You know, I think it was just pure shock, honestly. We were all so excited, but we didn't really know what was going to happen just because rounds have never really ended in a tie. It's a 2-day golf tournament, so normally you don't end in a tie with 4 players.
That's Dani Yaghmour with St. Mary's Colgan Golf. It's today's leadoff question with Kim Rolfs, the volleyball coach at Little River. Coach Rolfs, what's the best game or match that you have seen in person in your high school career?
Okay, I would have to say it was a game that I actually coached. Coaching a game is very intense, and the best game I think that I've seen us play as far as competition would have been against Halstead last year. We went 3 sets. First set score was 31-33. We did not come out on top. Lots of long rallies. Very, very competitive. Second set, we ended up taking, which I was super proud of my girls for that, simply because when you lose in such a overtime volleyball match, sometimes kids can get really down and have a hard time winning that second one, but we did end up winning that second one. And then the battle continued in the third set, which we couldn't come on top. We couldn't put enough plays together, but that was a very, very intense match against Halstead.
Any specific plays that stand out to you about that match?
There were several very, very long rallies. When kids get blocks on kills, and then they dig them up, and then, we're diving after balls, making those rallies very, very long. There isn't really one specific play that really comes to mind. It was the entire match that was pretty competitive.
Immediately after that match was over, did you kind of have a feeling, okay, hey, yeah, that was probably one of the better matches that I've seen or coached in?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, for this particular team, I think it was our turning point. The feeling that, hey, we can compete at a very, very high level. It isn't just a one play rally, very, very long rallies. We put some really good plays together. And so I think that was the turning point for us.
That's Kim Rolfs, Little River High School volleyball coach. That's how we get things started with a leadoff question. Thanks to Dani Yaghmour of St. Mary's Colgan Golf and also Kim Rolfs, Little River volleyball coach, with their responses. When we return, we'll be talking Western Kansas football, Hill Brothers football. Brandon and Brian are talking some of the top products around the western part of the state in football. They are with us next on Kansas Sports Chatter.
Whether on the field or in the stands, displaying good sportsmanship creates the positive environment for our students. When you attend high school events, young eyes are watching you for examples of acceptable behavior. An easy way to display good sportsmanship is by cheering for your team, not against your opponent or officials. Do your part in keeping our hometown sports a positive experience for everyone. This message is brought to you by the Kansas High School Activities Association and the Student Advisory Team.
Are you looking for Kansas high school sports coverage and entertainment? Then Kansas Sports Chatter is the place for you. It's a statewide sports show that focuses on high school athletics and includes several guests each episode. Kansas Sports Chatter is easy to find. Listen anywhere you get your podcasts and watch anytime on YouTube. And the best part, it's 100% free to listen to or watch. High school sports and entertainment. Come join the chatter. Kansas Sports Chatter. Welcome back on Kansas Sports Chatter as we continue along in the show, and time now for some of our seasonal topics as we get to talk some football. And right now we're going to go out to Western Kansas to help us out with this football chatter. We bring in the Hill Brothers with Hill Brothers football. Brandon, Brian, hey, appreciate your time, guys, and excited to have some conversations this year about some standouts in Western Kansas.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, you guys are coming out with your preseason top 22. So give me a heads up. Give me some of the names that we need to be looking out for in Western Kansas this year.
Well, I think first off, everybody knows Ian Primer for Great Bend. He's probably the top recruit in Kansas and just committed to Notre Dame recently. So pretty exciting for some Western Kansas kid getting that kind of spotlight. Great Bend should have a big season this year. Chance to make it to the state championship game, possibly in the West. Another kid I came up with, a kid that you're probably going to see quite a bit on Friday, is Brody Faunenstill coming into Hoisington this year from Russell. He's kind of made some buzz here, late spring, early summer. Had, I think, 4 or 5 D1 offers. KU recently offered him, and I'm excited to see what he can bring to that Hoisington team and see how Hoisington uses him. Another kid far out west would be the 6-man defending state champs from Weskin, that Carson Wright. He kind of is a do everything for him, and he's kind of hit some camps this spring and summer and kind of making a name for himself. So look for Weskin to kind of make another run in that 6-man division.
Brian, anybody that stands out for you that you're looking forward to watching?
Yeah, we've got a couple other kids. Arlie Morrell, the big tight end, DN from Pratt. Had a really good year. Really came on at the end of the season last year, and as he started making his camp, invites and visits that, he really started to catch fire. And, by early May, he was holding about 16 offers from Division I schools. And he's 6'6" and 215 pounds and, a big frame to be able to build upon. And just recently committed to Colorado State. And, he's a guy that kind of does everything. He's a punter. He runs track. He was part of their 4x4 state championship team. And, I just think that he's a big athlete that has really come on. And, a lot of these kids like Primer and, some of these other kids that have, come along, it seems like Western Kansas is producing some really, really good tight ends right now. And another kid is Gus Coser. He's an offensive lineman at Hayes High, 6'3", 285 pounds, extremely powerful, upper body and lower body. He holds about 20 Division I offers right now. He's just going to be a junior and plays center. And I think that's something that, a guy that big and that size, and center is one of those positions that, every offensive line and, everybody in the country is looking for a smart and intelligent guy to make a bunch of calls. And he's really caught on here through the camps this summer. And, he's going to be part of a really, really good Hayes team up there as well.
Have you guys noticed a change as far as the outlook on Western Kansas over the last few years, especially since you guys launched? Just maybe a little bit more eyes on some of these Western Kansas athletes?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we started this, I think, in 2020. And, you've had the Jaron Canick, high-profile recruit. You've had Ian Primer. You've had Lincoln Cure. You had Morrell, Kosar. You're starting to see there is talent out here, and that's kind of one of the reasons why Brian and I wanted to start this. Is I feel like kind of going under the radar out here, and if you're not in the Wichita or Kansas City area, it's kind of like you weren't getting the looks of everybody else.
So if anyone wants to see that preseason top 22, where do they need to go?
You
can check us out on our Hill Brothers Twitter. It's at Hill Bros FB, and you can also check us out on Facebook at Hill Brothers Football.
Hey, guys, appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Okay, thank you.
All right, sounds good.
That is Brian and Brandon Hill joining us with Hill Brothers Football. That'll do it for this segment. We'll take a break, come back with more of Kansas Sports Chatter.
Sportsmanship is when people who are playing or watching a sport treat each other with respect. This is a reminder to be a good sport to your peers, coaches, opponents, fans, and the people officiating the game. Sporting events have a much better atmosphere when everyone involved is displaying good sportsmanship.
Welcome back in on a Kansas Sports Chatter. Time now for our quality time interview, an opportunity to spend a little bit more time with our next guest. And that next guest is Melissa Holle, the head volleyball coach for Hanover High School. Thanks for coming on the show, Coach. Appreciate the time.
Not a problem.
For you, you look at the season right on the verge of starting. How did you attack this summer? How do you go about a typical summer for Hanover volleyball to make sure your players are ready?
Well, I have a lot of girls returning this year. I have one that I have to replace, which is Anna Juneman. So we worked a lot on the small stuff, a lot on our passing and making sure it's getting to our setter and our hitting and trying to develop another outside hitter. So with everybody coming back, we didn't have to really start over. So we just tried to emphasize on the things we needed to work on from last year.
When you talk about player development, especially during the offseason and more importantly during the summer, what goes into that? Is that one-on-one workouts, individual workouts, or you just hope, purely as they get older, they get better? How do you go about making sure you develop each and every player?
We do a lot of work in the summer as a team. The girls go to weights about 6:00 in the morning, 4 days a week during the summer, and that really helps. We have some great coaches that have put that on for them. But at the same time, we have our open gyms to where we get in there as a whole team, and we did a summer volleyball league to help us get the playing time and things like that. And then we also go into that one-on-one work with some of the girls and really focus on the key positions that we need to work on this season.
When you're working one-on-one with a player, what are some of the techniques that you're looking at? I mean, you can go position by position, but what are some of the finer details, I guess, that you're looking at to make sure they improve?
Well, you're right. It depends on what position we're looking at. For our passers, we're really trying to develop them on seeing the ball better and being able to read a hitter, read a server, kind of develop that skill to where they can see where the ball is going before the ball ever crosses the net. Our hitting, we try to develop more into some faster hits, not so much just, hit outside, hit middle, hit backside, but, move the ball around and being able to be versatile at where they're hitting, because you never know what team you're going to come up against and what kind of blocks you're going to see. And then with our setters, we're trying to get them to put the ball exactly where we need it to be, being able to work on those tougher passes and getting a ball in a playable area for someone to hit. Because I think at the level we're at as a team-wise, we shouldn't be sending free balls over the net. And if I can get a setter to put the ball where it needs to go for somebody to hit it over, it makes it a harder ball to be able to pass up.
I'm sure at Hanover, and especially all the success that you guys had in multiple sports, you're looking to build, I guess, multiple sport athletes, as far as strength and conditioning. Are there any certain, I guess, conditioning or weight training that you do specifically for volleyball that maybe they wouldn't do in any other sport?
We work on some footwork, but a lot of what they do, we have great coaches in the morning. Matt Hoyer and Dusty Hoyer put on our weights program for our high school kids and our junior high kids, and they do some speed training and footwork with the kids as well, and that pays off, and I owe a lot to them for what they've done for the girls.
You look at your career and starting, obviously, the success with the state championships in volleyball, but I mean, you started out as a basketball player in college over at Newman. Were there any thoughts for you to coach basketball when you first got started?
I thought about it. I like to play basketball more than I do to coach it, and I like to coach volleyball more than I like to play it. So I've always had my comfort zone for coaching is volleyball, and I really enjoy that, and I know more about that sport coaching wise than I think I do basketball.
When you dove in full force to volleyball, who did you reach out to as far as any advice? Did you get any advice when you first started coaching?
I actually reached out to my old college coach a couple times, just for the coaching aspect, but there's a lot of great coaches here at Hanover, and I had a lot of great coaches when I was at Blue Valley for a short time, and really reached out to the older coaches for some advice, and they're great mentors.
Any specific details that stood out? I mean, you don't have to remember the names, but any specific details that stood out to you when you first started that, hey, man, that's really good advice?
I was told a long time ago by my college coach to follow my gut and my feelings, and to not be one of those coaches that played in to, the parents or the crowd or the community type thing, and to do what I felt was necessary and what I felt was right, because in the long run, that's where you're going to be successful instead of questioning yourself all the time.
You talk about success, and obviously Hanover has had it, especially over these last 5 years. How do you meet those expectations? I think every coach wants high expectations because that means you're doing well and your program's off to a good start. How do you go about that? Is that something you don't even talk about, or how do you make sure you meet that bar of success at Hanover?
So we talk about it in the summertime, and we talk about it at the very beginning of the season. And I always make the girls write some goals, and I write goals myself. So there's one team goal, and they write 2 individual goals. And coming from a successful community like Hanover, there are very, very high expectations for these kids. And especially when you're successful, the expectations go up. But I think if we can talk about it as a team and all have the same mindset, it helps. And every year it seems to be the main goal that everybody wants is to go back to the state tournament. And so when we set that expectation of that, we're able to build on the season to eventually reach that goal.
Have you laid out your goals yet for your individual goals?
I've thought about my individual goals. Obviously, that big goal is to go back to the state tournament and hopefully get a three-peat, because we didn't quite make it on the last one to get the three-peat, and that would be kind of the icing on the cake. And my daughter's a senior this year playing, and just being able to have her get that success that unfortunately her older sister wasn't able to have would be great.
For you, and you mentioned just missing out on the three-peat and then getting it back this year, starting at hopefully maybe another stretch for Hanover volleyball. In your mind, which one was difficult, winning that first state championship or is trying to stay on top of the mountain? Which one's more difficult?
Trying to stay up on top of the mountain, because it doesn't matter where we go. We have a target on our back. We've been to the state championship game 5 years in a row. We've won 3 out of the 5. So Hanover has a huge bullseye on their back. And, you know, we talk about that at the beginning of the season every year. Their teams are looking to beat you. And so that's just kind of one of those things we've thought, you know, we don't want to be beatable. We want to be the toughest that we can absolutely be.
Have you noticed, though, that the success that you've been able to have, has it been able to grow the sport in Hanover? I mean, you guys have obviously always had really good programs, but have you seen even maybe more growth in maybe the younger girls that are excited about volleyball?
Yes, I have. We also put on a little kids camp during the summer, and we have anywhere from 40 to 50 little kids from the community come to that camp, and it just makes it more exciting because the high school girls come in and work with them, and it just helps build, you know, they want to be like the older girls, and a lot of them are siblings of these younger girls, and they want to be like their older sisters.
What would be your best advice for younger athletes? So some of those younger girls that are wanting to become, you know, star athletes at the high school level and beyond, what do they need to work on at maybe at that younger age?
I think my best advice is just to have fun. I mean, we put so much pressure on these kids, even as a young age. You know, you have to get better at this. You have to be the best at this. Have fun with it. And I think when you're having fun, then the work ethic goes into it. And you don't even realize you're working hard to get to where you want to be.
How do you go about lighting up some of those practices, you know, during some of the grind of the season leading up to that big goal? Because not everything's a state championship level match. And sometimes you got to go through that regular season. How do you guys keep things light there at Hanover?
You know, we do a lot of fun games. The girls are really competitive, so pulling out those competitive games at practice kind of lightens the mood. But then we do the goofy, silly games. You know, there's one where we throw a balloon in the air and you have to run in a line and try to keep it up. And it's the girls have fun and they're laughing, and, you know, they don't realize that they're working hard at the same time as just having fun with each other.
I think we call that balloon game here at my house with the kids uppy uppy. So who is the best at the balloon game at Hanover?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, though, because they've got to sprint down and get it up. And some of the ways they try to do that, I'm like, I would not be getting back up after the way you just came down. But they have a lot of fun with it. It gets really competitive.
That's awesome. Hey, Coach, appreciate your time and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
That is Melissa Holle, Hanover volleyball coach, joining us here on Kansas Sports Chatter. We'll take a break. More of the show right after this.
Respecting our sports officials is an important aspect in our activities and for our communities. We need to cheer for our teams while also supporting the officials who help make the game possible to create a positive sports environment. These individuals dedicate their time and effort to ensure fair play and maintain the integrity of the game. They make tough calls in the heat of the moment, and their decisions are crucial for the safety and fairness of all players involved. When we show respect for our officials, we set a great example for athletes and fans.
Which fan are you at sports games? Do you have your face painted with your team colors, yelling at the top of your lungs? Or are you nervously following the game, barely able to watch? No matter what type of fan you are, Kansas Sports Chatter has the entertainment you need. It's always free to listen to wherever you subscribe to your podcast and free to watch on YouTube. Whether you're a diehard sports fan or you're still figuring out the rules, Kansas Sports Chatter has the entertainment for you. Welcome back on Kansas Sports Chatter. It's time now for our Hall of Fame Spotlight. This is a chance where we get to shine the lights on one of the many inductees over the years from the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. And to help us out with the segment, we bring in Jeff Bollig. He's the vice president for the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors. How are we doing today, Jeff?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate you coming on and your wealth of knowledge just for the state of Kansas in general, but specifically for high school sports. I'm excited to have these conversations with you throughout the year. Let's get right to it, though. we've had so many inductees over the years, but this is a very recent one that was just recently inducted into this year's class. Bobby Randall, a guy from Norton, Kansas, played at Gove High School, now known as Wheatland. This guy could play some baseball.
Bobby was an outstanding athlete, really. And, you can't get any more Kansas than Bobby Randall. He moved at a young age to Gove, and Gove did not have a football team. So he had to play baseball. They did that in the fall and the spring. He's also a very good basketball player. And actually, Bobby was drafted by the Dodgers twice, early in high school and just coming out of high school. But he said he wasn't ready, and he went to Kansas State. And he played basketball as a freshman for Bill Guthridge. And Bill Guthridge was the longtime assistant coach for North Carolina for Dean Smith. And Bill was from Parsons originally. And the only reason he got the scholarship, Tex Winter came to visit him in high school and asked him if he could dribble behind his back and through his legs. And he showed him he could. So Bobby got a $300 scholarship. So, he parlayed that into 1 year of basketball as a freshman, then played through his junior year, was an all-Big 8 player in the Wood Bat era, I mentioned, and then went on to get drafted the third time by the Dodgers and went on playing minor league. The Dodgers 7 years and then 5 years for the Twins. And after that, went on to coach baseball, first as an assistant at Iowa State, then as the head coach at Kansas, and then lastly at Manhattan Christian. So Bobby's had a long career of baseball and a long life in Kansas, and it was great to induct him.
Well, it's cool. I mean, you talk about what he was able to do in high school in Kansas, but even you look at K-State, I mean, some of his batting average records, like those are still in the top 5 in KSU history right now.
You're right. Like I said, Wood Bat era, I think is his average. I think he had the top average for a long time. He may be second now, but he was a good infielder, a hard worker, and put the bat on the ball. And, a little different back then. You didn't play quite as many games. We didn't have ESPN. We didn't have the internet, so not a lot of people knew about him. But interestingly enough, back in that era, small town baseball was big. Rookie league baseball, for example, there was the Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri League, KOAM, and that was Class D rookie league baseball. And it was Chanute, Pittsburgh, Independence, Bartlesville, Carthage, Missouri. That's the league where Mickey Mantle got started. So, baseball was America's pastime because it was played in all these small little towns. And so you could be found. And of course, Bob was found by a scout from Great Bend, John Keenan. And the Dodgers were good about finding Kansas athletes. That just prior to Bob being drafted, they had Bill Russell from Pittsburgh, Davey Lopes, who played at Washburn. One of their coaches, a longtime coach for Lasorda and Walter Alston, and he coached in the minors, was Monty Baskell. Monty was from Pfeiffer, Kansas, just a little east and south of Hazen, Victoria in Ellis County. And so there was a large Kansas influence on the Dodgers, interestingly enough. And so John Keenan got Bobby signed, and the rest is history. He played for the Dodgers. He played many years in the minors. He was really close, but when you're behind Ron Say and Bill Russell and Lopes and Steve Garvey, it was just bad timing. So the trade to Minnesota was fortuitous for him, and he was sitting behind Rod Carew, the great hitter, for quite a while. And then they made the decision to move Carew to first base, and Bobby got the chance to start. And the manager who made that decision was Gene Mock, and Gene's from Salina originally. So it came full circle. So a lot of Kansas connections.
You imagine for Bobby Randall, I mean, getting drafted right out of high school and saying, from the LA Dodgers, nonetheless. So, I mean, you're like, no. And then again, like you said, later on at K-State and passing up and eventually kind of finding that right time. That's crazy.
Well, it is. And I heard someone told me his first tryout was in jeans, a T-shirt, and tennis shoes. So, but that just tells you how maybe different it was back then. But it's amazing that these small town kids were found all over, like I said, because of the network of minor league baseball and small city baseball. Bobby was telling a story about how some of the bigger schools, I believe he mentioned it was Great Bend and Dodge City, did not have baseball in high school at the time. And many of those programs had Legion or summer ball, so that's how they made up for it. But, Gove, not a lot of people there. And they love their baseball. He talked about how the cars would line the outfield fence with the lights on, and he said it was their Yankee Stadium. Nice. So quite a growth for Bobby to come from, Gove to end up in the major leagues. And I'm just so happy we're able to induct him because, like I said before, he is Kansas.
Jeff, good stuff. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you.
That is Jeff Bollig, the Vice President for the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame, and that'll do it for a Hall of Fame segment as we highlight Bobby Randall. Are you looking for a new way to promote your business or organization? Do you want to get your message out to a statewide audience that loves high school sports in both urban and rural areas? Kansas Sports Chatter has advertising opportunities from commercials, sponsoring specific guests, product placements, and even a premier sponsorship. Let Kansas Sports Chatter promote your brand. Contact ksportschatter@gmail.com for more advertising details. That's ksportschatter@gmail.com. Come join the chatter. It's time now for volleyball chatter, and to help us out with this segment, we bring in our volleyball insider and our experts, Jeremy Deckard with Prep Dig Kansas. Jeremy, appreciate you jumping on. And like I said, with like a lot of the Prep Dig, just the knowledge and the stories that you've been putting out, and obviously the publicity for a lot of those recruits has been awesome. So excited to have you on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Cole. I'm glad to be here. Prep Dig, we launched the Kansas site in 2020. We currently have over 800 players across the state ranked among 4 classes. That we're getting ready to post an update tomorrow, actually, on our class of 26. And in that class, we've got over 30 athletes already verbally committed and 20 going to D1 schools. So people are starting to learn outside of Kansas that we are a hotbed for volleyball, and it's fun to hit the gym and talk about Kansas, being a lifelong Kansan. I know sometimes we feel like we don't get enough coverage in Kansas, but we're a place to watch some high quality volleyball.
What's really neat is not only do you focus on, the 2026 class, but you have rankings for, the classes right below. Give me some of those top prospects in each one of the classes right now.
Sure. As of right now, our number 1 ranked athlete in the class of 26 is Setter Ella Flores from Mill Valley, who has already verbally committed to Iowa State. We have in the class of 27, so the junior class this year, outside hitter from Mill Valley, Riley Riggs, has already verbally committed to South Carolina. And then in the class of 28, so this year's sophomores, currently the top-ranked athlete is Haley Schmidtline, middle blocker from Hayden, who plays club ball with the Topeka Saints. She's a multi-sport athlete who recently got her first basketball offer to Murray State University, but she's going to have to wait until the summer before her junior year to start getting some volleyball offers, and she'll get them. They'll be coming in. And then our freshman class, so the incoming freshman class, class 29, our current number 1 ranked player is Collins Livermore, who's an outside hitter and a setter from Cape Mount Carmel, and she plays club ball with Shockwave Volleyball Club out of Wichita. All 4 of them are very impressive. Our rankings, the number 1 slot changes quite a bit, especially early in the rankings process. I start watching basically during club season. I'll watch the 14U teams, which are 8th graders, will be 8th graders this fall, and then they'll be heading into their freshman years next year. They'll play club ball in the spring and the winter as 8th graders, but then they'll be freshmen the next year.
Jeremy, if someone goes through Prep Dig's website and checks things out online, what else do you have there, and what should they be seeing?
This month we'll have a bunch of team previews. We'll also have rankings updates this week on the class of 26, next week the class of 27. Right now we've got 3 scouts currently that have submitted some work for Prep Dig. We're all independent contractors. I'm the lead scout, so I'm in charge of the rankings. But we have a scout in the Kansas City area who kind of focuses on both sides of the state, Missouri and Kansas, and he's the lead scout for Missouri. And then the lead scout in Nebraska is going to start covering some stuff as well. So we'll have plenty of things to cover. We do cover club ball, and we do also do, of course, high school prep basketball. I did want to highlight some of the teams across the state that I think people should watch pretty closely this upcoming season. So the first quad, the Kansas City area schools, we got Bishop Miege, Olathe West, Blue Valley West, and Mill Valley. Of course, Mill Valley has the top-ranked players in the class of 26 and 27, so they're legit and they're deep, and they have a winning pedigree there under Coach Corneliuson at Mill Valley. Jaguars, team to watch. In the Topeka area, northeast Kansas area, that quad, I got Seaman, Washburn Rural, both Topeka teams always looking for state titles. Silver Lake High School, and Hayden. Hayden's got a loaded class of 28. That sophomore class with Schmetline and Blakely Walters, and they've got a really good libero who's a senior, Ella Foster. Then the Wichita area quad, Andover Central, Mays South, and Bishop Carroll. Of course, Bishop Carroll was the last team in 6A or 5A west of Manhattan to win a state championship, and you got to go all the way back to 2001.
Wow.
Since we've had anybody west of Manhattan win the state title, and Manhattan last won it in 2010. And that out in western Kansas, Hayes, Beloit, Halstead, and Great Bend. Great Bend should be the Panthers should be a team to watch. Kaya Bear, one of their setters, is the top-ranked setter in the class of 27. Outstanding athlete. She can hit the ball really hard, and she's a quality setter. She can play anywhere on the court. She's a 6 rotation type athlete.
I like those picks. Jeremy, appreciate your time and keep up the good work.
Thanks, sir.
That's Jeremy Deckard with Prep Dig Kansas. That'll do it for our volleyball chatter. Stick with us. Next Level Talent is next.
Mental health is crucial, especially during high school activities. It is a time when we're juggling a lot, school, sports, and clubs, and it can get overwhelming. Sometimes we might feel stressed or down, and that's okay. It's okay to ask for help when we need it. Taking care of our mental health is just as important as our physical health. Remember to support each other and create a positive environment in our high school community.
Welcome back on Kansas Sports Chatter. This is Next Level Talent, an opportunity for us to talk with former Kansas high school athletes that are now competing at a college or university in the state of Kansas. And today we go out to Fort Hays State University to talk with cross-country senior Emily Diercks, who was from Hoxie High School. Emily, appreciate you coming on. Appreciate your time. For you, going into your senior season at Fort Hays State, so what's that summer training like?
For me, I've just been doing a bunch of base training, just trying to get in the miles, trying to stay as consistent as I can possibly be. It's a little hard, but I'm trying to do a lot better than I have in past summer trainings. And I think I've done a really good job so far. So
now, as I was getting ready for this interview, I was told, and you tell me if this is true or not, that one of the reasons why you got into running in the first place was because you're bribed a pizza and Dr. Pepper. Is that true or not?
So yes, that's true. That's part of the reason why. The other reason why was my best friend, she convinced me to go out for the summer cross country program that they had. It would be going into my freshman year of summer. And so I decided to join because she convinced me. And we started. I hated it so much. It was so awful. She ended up dropping out and quitting. And I was like, Mom, please let me quit. I don't like this at all. And she's like, no, just finish up. So I finished up the summer. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to do the season. I hate this. It's so awful. And she's like, well, you did the summer training, so you might as well just do the actual season. So she forced me to continue with the season.
So was it your mom that bribed you with the pizza?
No, actually, I think he was my junior high coach.
Okay.
Or maybe he was either a fan or my junior high coach. I can't quite remember, but he's like, if you do the mile, I'll give you a pizza and a Dr. Pepper. I was a big fan of pizza and Dr. Pepper back then, so I was like, okay.
I'm sold. Go back to your time in Hoxie, Emily. Like, what do you remember best about running cross country and track there for Hoxie?
I really I don't know. I liked my teammates. I got to practice with some of my best friends at the time. My coach, I really enjoyed my coach. He was an awesome guy. He made running fun. He pushed me to be better, the best I can be. And yeah, I just really enjoyed my team and my coach.
When did that passion set in, though? When did it click there? Hey, I'm really good at this, and I also like it a lot. When did that set in for you?
Well, so I used to compete at Colby Community College for 2 years. My coaches down there were Brady Johnson and Chelsea Johnson. My the beginning of my freshman year was really hard for me because I just really couldn't get into it. I struggled like training, competing. I just was running the worst I'd ever in my whole entire life. And I was like, I hate this. This is awful. And then I got diagnosed with severe anemia. And then I actually started, was able to train. My coaches helped, they helped push me to get tested. And I was actually able to train. And I was like, wow, this doesn't actually, this doesn't hurt. This feels normal. Nice. And then my first competition back, I remember at Wichita State, I was running the 1500, and I think I got I don't know what place I got, but I remember I qualified for JUCO Nationals, and I was like, wow, this is actually really fun. I'm actually really good at this. This is super fun. And it also helped that when I was at Colby, my teammates were a bunch of international kids. And the only reason why they came down here to Kansas was to compete, to run, train. They didn't care about the school. They didn't care about getting a degree. They just cared about running. And so that kind of helped spark my passion. Hey, this is super fun. There's all these other athletes that are enjoying this. They're improving and getting better. And it's just made it a lot more fun having people that had the passion to get better.
Emily, appreciate your time and best of luck this year.
Thank you so much.
That is Emily Diercks, an NCAA Division II All-American, also the defending MIAA cross-country champion from Fort Hays State University and out of Hoxie, Kansas. We'll take a break. More of Kansas Sports Chatter after this. Are you a person that's always on the go? You can still easily keep up with Kansas Sports Chatter with the audio podcast. Hear each episode on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Make sure to follow the Kansas Sports Chatter podcast. The second episode of Kansas Sports Chatter is in the books. Thanks to all of our guests. Appreciate your time. Make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube page. And if you're a business owner and you want to promote your business on the show, contact us for advertising options. Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's when the new shows come out. Thanks for joining the chatter.